Hey guys, thanks to all of you who donated to my PFLAG campaign. Thanks to your efforts, we raised over $1,000. Now it's April, and that means it's time for a cause that's near and dear to my heart, PMDD awareness. For those of you who might not know, I suffer from premenstrual dysphoric disorder, or PMDD, which despite what the name might imply, is a condition separate from PMS. It starts when you ovulate and doesn't end until you menstruate. It includes intense physical and emotional symptoms. I did not know what it was until I got diagnosed back in 2022, and I didn't realize how widespread it is, but so underdiagnosed at the same time. April is the month of premenstrual disorders, and I implore you to donate to the IMPMD, an organization that helps those with premenstrual disorders, including finding resources, doctors, and support groups. Donate today. And remember, you are loved, you are wanted, and you got this. Now on with the video.
Did everyone enjoy the Halloween special?
No, Randy. Only you did.
Oh, well, that was pretty much my target audience anyway.
Phew, time to make another ugly video. Hi, I'm Kitty Monk, and I'm here to talk to you about South Park, or more specifically, Randy Marsh. Now, South Park is well known for making fun of stereotypes, both in media and real life, while also occasionally perpetuating some of those stereotypes. Only some. The most notable is the idiot dad cliche you see in sitcoms and cartoons, especially with people like Peter Griffin. In South Park, while every father is arguably an idiot, the king of the idiots, if that's possible, is Randy Marsh. Don't get me wrong, Randy's hilarious, I like Randy, and I can understand the appeal of essentially making him a pseudo-main character. After all, Matt and Trey have said that they found Randy relatable the older they got. But much like Hartman, Randy has done a lot of destruction in the name of comedy. 20 specific examples, and we're gonna count them down, starting with
Listen, everyone. If you let your kids play sarcastaball, you're a f***ing genius. Oh!
I, for one, don't like sports. That's not sarcasm, I really don't like sports. I'm not athletic, and I live by Red Bull Stadium and MetLife Stadium, so traffic. Imagine having to walk across a bridge to get to work because all of the streets are blocked off. And then you are also afraid of heights on top of that or losing your cell phone. In Sarcastaball, Randy learns that the school wants to make football safer in response to the new regulations from the NFL to help stop concussions.
We don't have kickoffs anymore. The school said they're the most dangerous place, so they don't have us do them anymore.
Wait, whoa! What the f***?
South Park actually has a football team. I mean, I guess every school has one. We even had one, but ours sucked. Anyhow, Randy is against the school getting rid of kickoffs. Whatever those are. I'm just saying, I told you guys I don't know how sports work. I'm like an outsider looking in.
Oh yeah, we don't want our kids getting hurt playing football.
Randy instead sarcastically offers an alternative to football he calls sarcastaball, where, okay, you know what? Maybe it's better if I show you what he wants to do.
How would the bras and tinfoil hats make it safer?
We'll have a balloon instead of a ball, and whoever catches the balloon tries to run while all the other players hug.
Yes, that. Admittedly, I would love to see Ike and the kindergartners doing that. It seems so cute. Unfortunately, the school board does not see past his sarcasm and believes it to be an excellent substitute. So Sarcastaball is implemented and Randy is made head Sarcastaball coach.
So you're happy with these changes?
Happy? I'm thrilled. Look at how much better this is.
Okay.
The sport gets to be so popular that it also replaces normal football, which makes everybody except Butters angry with Randy.
Guys, let's kick some butt.
Give him hell, coach. Loving, not shoving.
Oh yeah, good one.
The reason this one is so low is, admittedly, it's not really his doing. He was just being sarcastic. It's everybody else being idiots. But at the same time, couldn't he just stop whenever he wanted or give a hint that he cares? But they do kind of explain it in the episode as he gets to be so sarcastic that it's the only thing he can say or do.
Help me, Sharon. Help me.
Even an MRI doesn't help him. But at the same time, they are also kind of ambiguous if Randy really is a victim, or much like Bloody Mary, he's just being a hypochondriac about sarcasm. Even Stan wonders,
Do you want to end up like him?
Oh, right, like he doesn't exaggerate every disease he gets.
Oh, Randy, it's happening!
so it could go both ways, hence its inclusion. Granted, at the end of the episode, something does happen that makes him switch back and eliminates sarcastaball permanently. He drinks a peculiar substance called Butters' Creamy Goo.
Yeah, Dad. You need some of this.
Oh well, I'm sure it's milk or something.
This is
Ew!
I don't understand. Just let me go do this one thing and I won't.
No!
For as much as Randy is a central character, nowadays, in many ways, he shares a lot of traits in common with the Joker of all people. He has a vague backstory that's often multiple choice. In some iterations, he and Sharon were hippies. In others, they got together as kids in the clubhouse. In others, he has a brother named Jimbo. Heck, I even theorized he killed his grandfather the same way Marvin wanted Stan to kill him. In something you can do with your finger, Cartman has a dream of success is a boy band, name Fingerbang. Oh, that's why the title is that. But wow, Cartman uses dreams to decide the course of his life as well. You know, I thought we would never have something in common besides our weight. Of course, their boy band is probably never gonna truly succeed. They have no idea how to play instruments or music. Chef isn't really in the episode besides one scene, so they can't take advantage of his connections. And besides that, they're children. Randy discovers that Stan is part of a boy band, and rather than thinking it's cute like Sharon does, he acts pretty odd, like with a lot of out of character, violent anger.
Stanley, you are gonna have no part in that boy band.
Well, but Dad, all my friends are doing it.
If all your friends jumped off a cliff, would you do that too? You are not gonna be in a boy band, Stanley, and that is final!
He refuses to let Stan join or go to the mall, and he tries to get him to try another activity.
Dad, I like being in a boy band. I think it's interesting.
Well, there's plenty of other interesting things you can do. Have you ever tried marijuana?
No.
Well, maybe it's time.
However, compared to a lot of other examples on this list, which are just Randy being extremely selfish, here we find out he does have the best of intentions. Why? Well, Randy himself was in a boy band.
I was 18 when my high school men's choir performed at the grand opening of a sporting goods store in Denver.
His boy band was called the Ghetto Avenue Boys, even though they're all white. Admittedly, I don't care, but I feel like PC Principal would have some strong opinions. Randy got a lot of fame, money, and notoriety, but then something happened. He got old. How old?
Kid, you're just getting a little old to be in a boy band.
I'm 19.
Get a life, Marsh!
Why does this remind me of most of the guys from Big Time Rush?
And that is why you can't go to the mall.
However, he eventually realizes he was being too hard on Stan. He decides to allow him to join the boy band, and even joins as another member when Kenny dies.
I want to see what you guys can do, and then we'll go buy you a small toy so that you can forget all about this.
All right.
That helps too. But I feel like maybe Randy being Lord did not come out of nowhere. He just channeled his music into another avenue. A ghetto avenue. I'm sorry, I had to.
Dad, Mom says to stop trying to give yourself cancer.
Just gonna get a little bit of cancer, Stan. Tell Mom it's okay.
Now, to be fair, I don't think this is all that bad in terms of the episode, but realistically, it technically is. During Medicinal Fried Chicken, Randy takes the boys to KFC after soccer practice, but due to a new law that prohibits fast food restaurants from operating in low-income areas, the KFC in South Park is closed and replaced with a medicinal weed shop. As this is back when pot was still the devil mostly, Randy is excited to partake in the devil's lettuce.
Openly selling pot, for reals?
Sure. New state laws say it's okay.
Woo! All right! I love the future!
But to his dismay, the shop cannot sell to just anybody. He has to have a card.
You need a reference from your doctor to show it's necessary.
Oh, that's dumb.
And his doctor will only give one to somebody with a terminal, debilitating affliction like HIV, cancer, AIDS.
The THC helps them eat and take the pain. You are in fine shape. Well, that sucks.
And as we all know, there's a cure for AIDS, so Randy can't get AIDS. But really, not like anxiety? I know a lot of people who get medicinal cards and they get it for like mental health problems. Heck, I'd probably qualify if they built one in Newark. We almost had one, and then a church protested. Instead, Randy decides to give himself cancer via putting his marbles in a microwave full of chicken nuggets.
You do have testicular cancer. Score!
And he doesn't care that he now has ball cancer or that his balls are bouncy ball size, as he can now indulge in the devil's lettuce.
Look, I'm telling you guys, it's awesome. I can have all the pot I want, I get around faster than walking, and wherever I need a seat, I can just sit on my balls.
And this gives the other men the same idea. So they repeat the process and they're all high as kites, like Roger during that one episode when he was a kite. Unfortunately, as Randy isn't treating his cancer, his balls grow so big that he can no longer fit through the door to the weed shop, meaning he legally cannot buy any weed. He protests and the doctors and the medicinal dude come to an understanding. The KFC, although unhealthy, was keeping them cancer-free. So the best thing to do is to close the weed shop and reopen the KFC. Randy eventually has his tumors removed and turns the skin from the tumors into a coat for Sharon.
Oh, Randy, I love it!
And when it gets cold, it shrinks.
Ew. Regardless, why is it on the list? Well, joking aside, as this was a fun episode, cancer is a scary disease that has the potential to kill you. And testicular cancer is one of those diseases, even if, to be fair, it has a 95% 5-year survival rate. Plus, if left untreated, which let's be honest, Randy's cancer was, it has the potential to spread to other parts of your body and do you in. In fact, the whole endeavor left Randy infertile, as he had to have his marbles removed just to survive. And the same probably went for the other guys. So the lesson here is, if you want to try to do drugs, don't, or you'll end up like Carlos Mencia. Be like Rob Reiner and eat as much fast food as you want. Remember, it's only bad if you're smoking.
How much did it cost?
Oh, Sharon, 10-ish.
What's 10-ish?
10-ish, 1,000-ish, 10,000-ish.
Fun fact, you can actually buy one on Amazon. I mean, they're like $800, but you can still do it. I checked. In the aptly titled Japanese toilets, the Marsh family toilet breaks down, and Randy has to go buy another one. At the store, he's introduced to the concept of Japanese toilets. Cool, futuristic toilets with heating, soothing music, bidets, and the like.
Japanese toilets? Yeah, they're sort of the super high-class luxury models with all the bells and whistles, but you probably don't want to spend that kind of money. I'm not poor.
Randy likes having one, and it even grows on Sharon. But here's the problem. Randy just has to act like a mooch with a D. He starts to rub in people's faces how he has a nice toilet and they don't.
I've heard of those. Aren't they expensive?
Yeah, a bit. But for those of us who can afford it, it's well worth it.
And because he's an elite, because he owns a pot farm, he believes the family should be like the Kennedys and live by example by encouraging people to buy a Japanese toilet of their own, in the most condescending way possible.
There are actually Japanese toilets made for commoners. They may not be Nihon no Stairu, but they are good enough for you guys.
Ugh, can somebody please silence him? I didn't mean like that, but then again, he kinda deserves it. To be fair, like usual, I do think he had the best of intentions. Like he said, Japanese toilets have a lot of benefits. It's a cooler experience, there's a bidet so you don't have to waste money on toilet paper, they're cost effective and maybe even environmentally friendly, but what dragged it for me was how he acted. And when the toilet paper companies tried to silence him, he folded quicker than an origami swan.
Yeah, so we have nothing against toilet paper. It's a great product, and it was childish of me to make fun of it. Thanks, though. We'll see you later.
At least Timmy tried. What did he do?
Today we're going to be making the students my tasty baked ziti with basil and fresh mozzarella. It's all right here, right now on Cafeteria Fraiche.
Fraiche. As a kid whose parents were obsessed with Food Network, heck, I myself used to watch M-Roll and Unwrapped all the time as a kindergartner, this one speaks to me. I wonder what happened to them. I never hear about Food Network anymore, besides that one time I went to Myrtle Beach in like 2018 or 2019, I forget when, like around there, and I walked past Paula Deen's restaurant. Like my parents, Randy is obsessed with Food Network, except they've made the move to ghost shows and murder shows, but okay. Only rather than enjoying the programs, Randy likes it for another reason. First off, he likes to imitate the highly complicated recipes which nobody wants to eat.
Now, what I have for you is a nice goat cheese and heirloom tomato frittata. And we're gonna top that with a little creme fraiche. Oh, yeah. Ugh.
And then he forces Sharon to clean up his messes.
I gotta get to work. I cook so you guys clean up.
And also, he gets off on it, which I am not showing. Eventually, Sharon gets fed up and ends up blocking Food Network on all of the TVs. And as this was before streaming services, Randy has to do something that could potentially jeopardize his marriage. Call a food service hotline.
I was thinking about shallots, actually. Oh, yeah. Shallots won't overwhelm the chicken's natural flavors.
Randy Marsh!
Ah, Sharon!
What am I wearing? Only an apron. You know, I think Sharon would want Randy over logging on the computer at this point. Sharon, who goes with a shake weight to find herself on a scenic vacation, is no longer around to rein in her husband and his chicken fried nightmare kitchen impulses. So he ends up most likely quitting his job as a geologist and works at South Park Elementary.
Hello there, children.
Oh, what?
How's it going?
No, Dad, no!
No. You are not Chef. This is Chef. You see right here? You will never be him. But honestly, I wonder if being a cafeteria chef is better than that one time he worked at Walmart. At least he presumably would get benefits. Oh, but it gets worse. As a cafeteria chef, you can't really decide what you want to make that day. Basically, wait, actually, how does that work? Like, who decides what you're going to eat that week? Basically, you just heat up trays upon trays of processed food and follow a predetermined menu. Well, Randy doesn't want to do this as a cafeteria chef. He instead wants an excuse to have his own Food Network show. Cafeteria Fraiche. It makes extravagant meals that no kid in their right mind is going to eat.
Can we have some food, please?
Now, olive oil does have a low smoke point, so keep that heat low and keep it fraiche.
To get the cafeteria back, the kids decide to imitate Food Network, with Cartman pretending to be Gordon Ramsay.
Sting, do you know who that is in there? That's the Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, Dad, he'd like to talk to you.
Talk to me? Oh, Jesus.
They'll hold a cooking contest against the greats of Food Network, and Randy will lose, which he does, badly, as he doesn't have his secret ingredient, Creme Fraiche. While it is crushing to Randy, it does make sure he can no longer enjoy the Food Network, and unfortunately, he has to go back to doing it with his own wife. Oh, how awful. However, there's something else I want to touch on. This whole process, like the whole contest, takes about 12 hours, and in that time, the whole of South Park Elementary starves, as they have no way to get their food.
Whose cafeteria food will win? These chefs are cooking their hearts out and bringing their A-game to serve the kids of this elementary school. These kids have now been waiting over 12 hours for their lunch.
Keep in mind that many kids go to bed hungry, and the food they get at school, even if it might taste gross, is the only food they tend to get on the regular. Wow, thanks for propagating food insecurity, Randy. Oh, this episode is one big joke on food porn. I wonder what George R.R. Martin thought about it.
Oh, Stan! Oh, dude, how's it going, man? Hey, you want to go upstairs and play hide and go seek?
Hide and go seek, huh?
Yeah, Stan, why don't you go upstairs and play with yourself?
Early on, Randy still cared about Stan like a son, and therefore he acted like a father to him. But in typical sitcom fashion, he was worried that he might try drugs, which is hilarious nowadays, what with him forcing him to wear a hemp shirt, and himself getting arrested by the Chinese government for trying to bring weed into China. Ironically, at the beginning of My Future Self and Me, Stan does find a lit joint, but rather than trying it himself, he tries to put it out.
It's just a stupid plant that makes you dumb. Touching it won't hurt you. Then you throw it away. Fine, I will.
Later that night, it turns out that Stan's future self has traveled back in time. During his future, he tried drugs, and his life gradually fell apart, until he became a loser baby that not even Husk and Angel Dust would want to associate with.
Stan, whatever's happened, we're going to help you.
That's right. We're a family no matter what time shift.
Thanks. Could I get another beer?
Weird to believe he was right on the money, but with alcohol instead of drugs. Stan tries to study and do everything he can to stay away from drugs and bad influences, that way he won't turn into his future self. But as it turns out, maybe he doesn't have to for another few seasons. Stan discovers that his future self is an actor, hired by Randy and Sharon in order to steer him away from drugs.
I think he's pretty scared, all right.
It's just a little weird having to keep lying to our boy like this.
Well, you know what us ultra-liberals say. When it comes to children and drugs, lies are okay.
Of course, Stan doesn't appreciate being lied to, and he feels like by doing this, his parents don't respect him. He's like Barnacle Man. Nobody respects Barnacle Man. I respect you, Barnacle Man.
That's Barnacle Boy. I mean, man. Forget you people.
Stan tries to get his parents to understand that he caught on, but they don't buy it.
I think this is all an elaborate hoax, and I think that whoever is doing it doesn't have very much respect for me.
No, Stan, I think the only way you're going to get rid of him is by staying clear of drugs and alcohol.
Right.
Eventually, Stan tries to do what they did to him and scare them straight by threatening to cut off his hand, just to be sure that his future self really is his future self.
You don't want to go through life without one of your hands.
Maybe it's the hand I smoked that first joint with.
Stan!
Yes?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Wait, what? Like, were you just hoping Stan didn't do it? Of course, Stan didn't really cut off his hand, but to keep the illusion, Randy does this.
Ah! Why, his hand did disappear! He is you from the future!
That's weird because I didn't really cut off my hand, it was fake.
Look, it was fake in the future, too!
Yeah, so to be sure Stan doesn't do drugs, Randy mutilated a guy and probably prevented him from getting any more acting gigs, or a good portion unless he goes into horror movies. He better hope that a child amputee's parents decide to go to motivation corps. At the Stodge house, Stan finally lays it down to Randy, and his father gives him an honest talk that doesn't talk down to him, and he says why his parents are so worried that he'll try drugs.
Well, son, pot makes you feel fine with being bored, and it's when you're bored that you should be learning some new skill or discovering some new science or being creative.
You couldn't just say that. You had to waste 22 minutes doing this. Speaking of, I wonder how much that whole affair was costing you. Your residuals from your boy band will cover it.
Did you know that Snoop Dogg smokes weed?
Yes, everyone knows Snoop Dogg is a stupid pothead.
One of the most controversial changes to Randy in the later seasons is his new job as a farmer of Integrity Farms, especially with how he took his family out of their own lives and into nature even if they don't want to go, and made it clear they did not want to go.
Nobody cares about your stupid $300,000. We've become the kind of business that we moved out here to get away from.
Honestly, I don't mind this change. I just hate the fact that none of them like it and how much it's hogging the spotlight. And considering the streaming wars and Cupid Yee, I wish they explained something like Randy is a farmer only when weed is like in blossom or something. And the rest of the year, he's a geologist. But excluding him keeping Shelly trapped in the barn, I think this is the worst thing he's done as Integrity Randy. In the Integrity Farms Halloween special, Randy discovers that Shelly doesn't like pot, which Randy takes to mean that Shelly has a pot problem.
What's your problem with it?
I hate marijuana.
Yes, we all know, but why?
It stinks, and it makes everyone in this town dumber than they already are.
Among other things, he takes her to the police station and tells the officers that she has a pot problem.
I just think maybe a night in jail is the wake-up call that she needs. It's gonna be really hard for me to rage knowing you're in here, Shelly. It's gonna be really hard for me to rage.
Even if weed is now legal in Colorado, as is cocaine when he eventually lobbies for it at the end of the season, he tells the officers and they decide to do the scared straight thing, where she has to sit in a dirty jail cell all night on Halloween.
When you have a problem with drugs and alcohol, you hurt everyone around you. Happy Halloween.
All because she doesn't like how her father runs his business and ignores her and her family in favor of it. Wow, what a horrible child. Maybe she did deserve to burn to death in that horrible alternate timeline.
But she just ignores everything I say. I can't do this.
You're such a piece of shit, Dad.
No, Shelly, I love you.
Jerk. What makes it worse is that Shelly actually wanted to improve her mind rather than rotted with dope. She wanted to go to a book event at school.
You're going to a book fair.
Yes.
On Halloween.
Yes.
I don't even know how to deal with you anymore.
Which, I was a kid who loved reading, and I would have loved that. We never had that. I had to steal books from the library since nobody was using them, so nobody cared. Just, Shelly, be sure the chicken isn't there. Kitty, she's a child, and there might be children watching this video. We have to call him the chicken lover. Oh yeah, I forgot Catherine. But anyways, Randy doesn't want her going, thereby meaning he won't take her or arrange any alternate form of travel like an Uber or having Sharon do it or one of the other parents.
You're my dad. Drive me to the book fair.
I will not. I have things to get ready, and nobody cares about books on Halloween, Shelly!
On the bright side, at least this is one of those episodes where Randy gets what's coming to him in a super great way. Randy made a Halloween special to sell at his party, and Shelly taints it with black magic.
So with this Eldritch potion and these ancient words, I make my revenge upon all the turds.
Wow, she really knows her skills. So when he and Tally take it, or just Randy, because I like to tell myself that Tally is like a weed hallucination most of the time, he sees violent visions.
All right there, buddy? Whoa, dude, do you see that?
Oh dang. It's a good payback for what he subjected Shelly to, don't you think? Oh, and this also makes him sleep for 3 weeks straight.
November 3rd.
Wow.
Yay! The whole family has 3 weeks without him. Maybe they actually acted like a family during that time. Now, if only he went to prison instead of Mexican Joker, they'd have, some time without him. Can somebody please calculate down below how long Randy would have been in prison if he was found guilty? I am not a legal professional.
Cure disease. Stan!
You know, despite it landing on my list, I think this is one of my all-time favorite Randy episodes. During Bloody Mary, the boys are having karate lessons, and for the parents, it's the most boring thing ever. You just watch your kids, like, pretend to punch the air. I'm sorry I subjected my parents to that when I was in the 4th grade. So Randy does what any good father should do and gets drunk, which I'm sure, okay, 1 drink is fine. There's a bar, like, right next door, but no, he gets drunk.
Hey, sorry, boys.
Later, Randy.
All right, see you, Nelson.
Dad, weren't you watching?
No, I ran into Nelson from work. We were at the bar watching the game. $2 margaritas.
And this is on top of not only having to drive himself and Stan home, but all of Stan's friends, plus Ike.
Are you sure you're all right?
Oh, yeah, I'll be fine. I got some beers to keep my buzz going.
On the way home, he encounters a police officer, where this happens.
Touch your finger to your nose.
Well, come on, that's impossible. Okay, hang on. Okay.
Apparently, the same thing happened to Trey Parker when he was a kid. So he gets booked to the station, has a DWI on his record. What's the difference between that and a DUI? And must go around to schools, saying why it's bad to drink and drive. And his first stop is Stan's classroom.
Nobody wants to end up like Stan's dad, do they? I want you all to take a good look at Stan's dad and say, is that who I want to be in 30 years?
Oh my god, that's terrible. On top of this, Randy has to attend Alcoholics Anonymous, where they tell him he's an alcoholic, and alcoholism is a disease not unlike cancer.
Look, I really just need to cut down on my drinking and never drive the car drunk again.
You can't just cut down on your drinking, Randy.
Of course, you all know my position on stuff like that, so let's just stick to what happens. This being Randy, he uses it as an excuse to act like Walter White if Walter White did not sell meth.
It's not fair! Why did you give me this disease?
He He treats Stan like a gopher, he shaves his head, stays home from work, and steals Marvin's wheelchair along with presumably also a blanket. That way he can impersonate Walter Frey.
Aw, God damn it!
Stan, I need your help.
Dad, what are you doing in Grandpa's extra wheelchair?
I've got to try to take it easy from now on, son. Get Daddy another beer, will you?
Do you want a pie with that? Of course, he doesn't have to do any of this because, as Stan points out, he's not a true alcoholic, just a problem drinker. He's not gonna go into shock if he stops drinking, he just has to watch his habits.
Dad, you just need to not drink so much. It's very simple.
I wish it was that simple, son.
Oh my god, how radical. Now, why is this bad? Well, if you remember from my Stan Was Always Cynical video, I feel like Randy was part of the reason Stan developed his cynicism. He was always the Steven Universe of the show, being forced to care for his crazy parental figures rather than the other way around. This is perhaps when it's most prominent. After Randy finds out about the Virgin Mary statue, he wants to drive there, but as Stan points out, he legally can't. Randy's solution?
You drive.
I'm 8!
Either you drive this car or I will. Sure hope this works.
I mean, is it really that big of a deal? The Goff kids know how to drive, and they're the same age. Oh, and when he's in line waiting, he thinks his condition is more important than everybody else.
This kid's cutting in line.
Please, officer, you have to understand. I need a miracle way more than these people. I'm an alcoholic, and I'm powerless over it.
He makes Stan cut the line in front of people, including a blind guy, and it's like, he's like, oh my god, I'm gonna run out of beer. Stan! I'm sorry, I should just play the clip. I'm improvising here.
This is taking too long. I'm gonna run out of beer. Stan!
What?
Later, when Randy gets sober and converts to Christianity, he forces Stan to attend AA meetings with him, for some reason, and Whistling Willie's Pizza, rather than watch a sports game with his friends. Don't worry, to make it fun, he brought a friend for Stan.
Your dad doesn't drink either?
No, my dad doesn't drink.
Does that mean we're friends?
Stanley, I know your pain. At least your parents didn't have you early, so you were a 12-year-old at a 5-year-old's birthday party. Every single time. And at the end of the episode, when Randy discovers the bleeding statue wasn't a miracle, Stan is the one who has to tell him that if he wants to get better, he should be practicing moderation.
You like to drink, so have a drink once in a while. Have two. If you devote your whole life to completely avoiding something you like, then that thing still controls your life and you've never learned any discipline at all.
Parents, why would you get therapy? That's why you made babies.
What we are looking at is a global warming catastrophe the likes of which we've never seen.
I broke the dam. Not Stan, not Randy. I broke the dam. In the episode, yeah, I'm not saying the whole title, Cartman and Stan are playing with a boat in the harbor when they accidentally ram it into a dam, which is near the town of Beaverton. The whole town floods and people are trapped on their roofs.
But we believe that the death toll may be in the hundreds of millions. Beaverton has only a population of about 8,000, Tom, so this would be quite devastating.
Randy couldn't care less. His only concern is figuring out who to blame, because Katrina.
Somebody's gonna help the people off their rooftops, right?
That's not important right now, son. What's important is figuring out whose fault this is.
To this end, he puts his science skills to the test and does some research, this time deciding that the culprit is global warming.
With all due respect, cliché dissenting Republican, the economy isn't going to matter the day after tomorrow.
This being Randy, he decides that rather than prepare for any upcoming conflicts or actually look at the dam itself, this means there's a global disaster incoming, not unlike that one movie where New York City freezes over.
No, Stan, I'm afraid us adults just let you children down. We didn't take care of our Earth, and now you've inherited our problems.
We didn't listen!
We didn't listen!
Was that Jimmy Neutron episode inspired by it? When will it happen? 2 days before the day after tomorrow. Wait, what?
Oh my god. That's today.
What happens next? Well, Randy spurns the whole townsfolk into a panic. He forces them to imprison themselves in the community center in order to prepare against global warming, even if, as a scientist, he should know better, and he refuses to help anybody else, be it the people of Beaverton or the people below the wiener line.
Nobody can leave this building. But we need supplies, food, silicone. You go outside and you'll die.
The only good you can say is he tries to go outside to look for Stan in full winter gear.
Feel so hot. Feeling warmth is a symptom of the last stages of hypothermia.
Again, was that Jimmy Neutron episode inspired by that movie? Is Randy gonna hunt for caribou next?
By the time the loading bar was only half full, they was dead, starved on the internet. Come on, Stan, let's get some rest.
The one thing that connects everybody is the internet, and if we go without it, like my fear of a solar flare, things would go to crap. In overlogging, the internet finally gives out, and the world is left scrambling for answers, like eggs, wondering if they need water or half and half to be at their fluffiest. Sorry, Francine, but Google collectively agrees it's water. Eventually, the Marshes learn that there's some internet in California, so much like the grapes of wrath, they travel there.
Well, there certainly ain't none here. Look, maybe it's time you all face reality. The internet here's dried up. It could come back. Yeah, and maybe it won't.
Thankfully, nobody has to give their booby milk to a starving man. Yeah, that really happened. Plus, Francine's not around. In California, they discover that the internet is being rationed, and you can only really use it for a few seconds at most.
Honey, I ordered us some books on Amazon. All right, time's up. No, wait, I haven't entered the shipping information. No! No!
What does Randy use his internet for? Why, to spank it and crank it? Not showing that. I mean, I guess he could do it the normal way, but Randy needs visualization. Maybe that's why he transitioned to Food Network. Eventually, Randy sneaks off to use private internet, which is just a bunch of pictures drawn by people. Wow, he got into DeviantArt before it was a thing. However, there's a problem, and the reason why it makes the list. See, the remaining internet is kept contained in a shipping container at night. Randy, wanting stimulation, breaks in and uses up the remaining internet, which makes the problem much worse until Kyle has to solve it. Oh, and better yet, everybody at the camp, including his own family, come to find him looking like Katy Perry in the California Girls video.
There was a ghost! This ectoplasm! Oh, that wasn't me, that was a spooky ghost!
Yeah, right. So, Randy used up the real thing because he refused to wait for the internet to be fixed, or to, do it himself or with his wife. Sorry you don't have access to other resources, Randy. Was it worth it, at least?
And what are you gonna do, huh? Just blow his head off?
If we have to! Sit down, Glenn! Randy, you can't just sit down!
To be fair, this is actually 2 examples, not 1. 2 examples, 1 cup. Which is kind of weird for these types of entries, as I like to favor full episodes, not just individual moments, but hey. Rules were made to be broken. During Night at the Living Homeless, the homeless start to congest the town in droves. Are the Olympics coming or something? And Randy is upset. Of course, this is South Park, and rather than it just being an annoying problem, they're zombies. To them, the homeless aren't even human, constantly wanting change.
Spare some change.
Leave me alone, I don't have any change!
All right, God bless you, sir.
Oh, now I feel bad. Here! Ah!
Of course, Randy leads the charge against the homeless with him and a bunch of other adults stuck on the roof of the community center. But the worst comes when one of his friends, Glenn, ends up homeless when the bank forecloses on his house, and Randy shoots him and treats him like he is alive, even if, to be fair, he's not actually homeless.
I'll need to pay for storage. Can I borrow some money to put my stuff in storage? Come on, guys. If y'all just help me out a little bit. Each one of you just put in a little change.
I'm sure he could just buy another house or an apartment or stay in a hotel room for a couple of So, wow, Randy is a murderer. Good to know. The second happens in season 19 during Naughty Ninjas, aka the episode where he gets Officer Barbrady fired a second time. Kenny's neighborhood becomes overrun with the homeless due to the gentrification. I mean, they gotta live somewhere.
What are they doing?
They're not coming.
But they have to! Karen brought in one of their syringes, for Christ's sake!
Kenny and the boys dress up as ninjas to scare off the homeless, but they flee to Whole Foods, where Randy shows how much he cares about his fellow man.
Ew.
Spare a dollar?
No, I don't. I'm sorry. Thank you. God damn it. Ew.
And because they cursed out the cops for Officer Barbrady's mistake, they refuse to do their jobs, meaning the town is left with the homeless roaming around. Eventually, after the situation calms down, Randy and the townsfolk eventually come to an understanding with the cops. They'll take care of the homeless folk, even use violent force, and the grown-ups will turn around so they can have deniability.
Please, you can't take me back to Soto Sopa. ISIS is there.
No, those were just ninjas.
Ninjas?
Yay! Everybody's happy! Except the homeless. Guess they should go to California. It's nice for the homeless.
We must let the economy know that we are capable of respecting it. The economy is our shepherd. We shall not want.
Wow, one of my favorite South Park episodes. I never get to talk about it. I smell a review brewing. In Margaritaville, the Marsh family is experiencing the effects of the recession, something I can't really relate to because I was 7 and I didn't know what that word meant. All I know is my grandma had Fox News on and they were talking about illegal aliens, so I was too worried that Star Wars aliens are going to invade. I don't know. The problem with the recession is that people have too much debt as a result of stuff like the housing bubble bursting, when they should be spending money to pump the economy, but they can't spend anything because they have debt and they rack up more debt so they still can't spend. So the economy is stagnant, and Randy is making it worse by wasting the family's money on a Margaritaville, aka a machine that makes margaritas, something he can't afford.
They wanted a bigger house and materialistic things that they didn't even need. People with no money who got loans to buy frivolous things they had no business buying.
Heck, Sharon doesn't even have a food budget. Now, South Park is a small, working-class neighborhood, so they're all experiencing the same thing the Marshes are. This leads to a bunch of prophets, like in Life of Brian, giving their own ideas about how to run things. Randy's idea is to essentially go back to biblical times.
It is time to stop pointing fingers! Finger pointing gets us nowhere! Steve! And now the economy has cast its vengeance upon us all.
I'm Brian and so is my wife. Kids will play with sticks and rocks and squirrels so you don't have to buy toys. People will wear bed sheets to avoid buying clothes. They can't just make clothes. I'm sure they could sew or something. They won't have power. Instead, they'll use candles. And rather than cars that require gas and maintenance, they'll ride pack animals.
Cut spending to only the bare essentials. Water and bread. And margaritas, yay.
Of course, this new utopia sucks. I mean, there's always a catch to these utopias. And it's boring. I mean, would you want to live here? I would not want to live here. Kyle, on the other hand, suggests they should be spending more, as he likens the economy to a god, something meaningless until people put their faith in it.
This is only plastic. It's just something made up by people. Truly meaningless until we put our faith in it. Faith is what makes an economy exist.
His public declarations of blessed are the cheesemakers stirs bad feelings in Randy, because he's lactose intolerant. And with Cartman's assistance, he wants to do away with him. However, Kyle gets to put his plan in place first by doing what Randy refuses to do. Pay off everybody's debts so they have more money to spend, with his platinum Amex with no spending limit. Which, unlike Randy, this is a totally selfless act. This 4th grader, remember Kyle's 9, is going to spend his entire life in debt just to help the adults around him.
Kyle! Kyle, you have to stop this!
It's okay, Ma.
No, Kyle, you'll be in debt for the rest of your life! Please, somebody get him to stop!
And while somebody like Daryl actually does express his thanks, and I'm sure the townsfolk might get back one day, maybe, Randy just rolls his eyes and decides to be a hypocrite.
There's about $17,000 worth here.
Randy, you didn't save money in that time? Because admittedly, while I don't like your idea, I feel like you could have used your more frugal lifestyle to save money and use that towards your debts. Then everything could go back to normal. Oh, and what's worse is that Randy learned nothing from this whole experience.
Wow, the new Margaritaville with salsa dispenser. Just pour your favorite salsa in the top and it comes out the dispenser at the bottom. Oh, we need this.
Speaking of, when South Park returns, are they gonna do an episode on greedflation or shrinkflation or both? I feel like they would have a lot to say. America's favorite pastime is the thing that every kid hates. Baseball. The South Park boys are forced to participate in baseball by their parents, for reasons.
You know how our parents are about this sport? Yeah, my dad always said it's okay to lose, but if you don't try, you're grounded, mister. Yeah.
The kids win the big game, but to their shock, the season isn't over. They must continue to play the rest of the season against other players from Colorado. Zan, of course, hates the sport as much as his friends, but he keeps doing it for Randy, as he can't bear to tell him no. See, Randy likes the games, not so he can cheer on his son or support him, but so he can get drunk and attack other fathers, always getting into legal trouble.
You want a piece of me? Because I'm pretty sick of your goddamn mouth.
What do you want to do, huh? What do you want to do?
Randy, don't.
At one point, Stan considers quitting when he discovers that if they win at state, they'll be wasting their entire summer playing baseball across the country. He tries to go to his father and tell him he doesn't want to play, but this happens.
The state championship game. It's the greatest thing ever.
God damn it.
Ugh, poor kid. At the state game, they're playing against their rivals that got good at losing. Wait, but if they got good at losing, why are they at the championship? And no technique they do will guarantee their loss. Not even Kyle's cousin Kyle, who somehow gets a home run. But there's somebody there who has it out for Randy. Bat Dad. A father who dresses up like a legally safe Batman knockoff. I think he's also voiced by Diedrich Bader or Barber, the guy who plays Judah and Ray Roy. And like Randy, he likes to get drunk and fight with other dads, but he actually made a name for himself.
Mr. Marsh? Who wants to hear from a Mr. Marsh? I am the ultimate Little League trash-talking father. I am the Bat Dad.
Ironically, at one point before the game, Randy decides not to go, as there's no way he's gonna be Bat Dad.
You don't think you can? This is the biggest game of your son's life. Why wouldn't you go and support him with...
Because I'm scared, alright?
You don't have to get in fights with other parents at Little League games.
Sharon doesn't get it. I mean, why would Randy go to a game and not get drunk? That's like telling a fish not to swim. But then he decides to give it a try.
Come on, South Park! These kids can't play! In fact, these kids are terrible!
Well, good for you with your discipline. Randy faces off against Bat Dad until the ref says that whoever fights next, their team will be disqualified.
That's enough! The next person that fights is getting his team disqualified! He's done for anyway.
Wait, but what if they're on the same team? Sensing a technicality, the kids exploit it for all it's worth, encouraging Randy to kick his butt.
Randy! Get up, Rock! Get up, you bum!
Get up, Randy! Fight!
They cheer with all their might, and Randy gets arrested. Good thing they lose. Yay! But yeah, sucks Randy was the reason they couldn't lose sooner.
Dad! You're the greatest.
And some people think there's no room for wonder anymore. Well, just for a moment, I want you to think one thing. Whatever you believe is real, is real.
One episode I never really talk about. Admittedly, I think the reason is this is one of my least favorites of the whole show. Not for any particular reason, I just find it kinda boring. And everybody has that one episode of their favorite show they forget about until it airs. I think this would probably be mine. That and Poor and Stupid. The boys are participating in... I can't can't say the word. Okay, you know what? Rooster fighting. Okay, so the boys are participating in rooster fighting there, which rather than chickens fighting like in that one episode of American Dad where like pizza to the death, is instead Kenny fighting a rooster via Magic the Gathering. You know, I tried to play it a few times. I could not get into it. I'm sorry. But ooh, a Kenny episode. That's kind of rare. Randy overhears what the boys are doing, but he only hears the part and believes they're practicing, oh Jesus, wiener magic, where Randy uses his schlong to do various magic tricks.
I was into magic back in college.
You were?
Yeah, so I'm not some fuddy-duddy who doesn't get it. I just want to make sure if you boys do it, you do it right and safely.
Which, okay, it's quite a talent. I obviously cannot do it because I don't have a schlong of my own. But some of the audiences he does this for are children. That alone is awful, but then he does it in a violent manner that traumatizes them for life.
Check behind your ear! Oh, it was behind her ear! There we go, we're all better, and I am the amazingly Randy. Thank you.
You know, considering everything Randy has done, I'm surprised he's not on a list by now, but better they see this over a cartoon mascot dying of an opioid overdose, right? Right?
Okay, yes, I understand. Thank you. They said they maybe might send over a representative.
Randy, as an inner city child born and raised, you are my enemy, and the wall keeps out the enemy, and we build the wall to keep us free. That's why we build the wall to keep us free. You do not remember Here Comes the Neighborhood? Season 19 as a whole is focused on political correctness, but one of the major underlying themes is gentrification, a type of monetary political correctness, and the harmful effects it can bring. Much like being PC, it tries to get rid of the bad by swiping away the good of the community. In the heart of it. When South Park is made fun of by Jimmy Fallon, Randy and the townsfolk decide to scramble to make the town more presentable and to fix its reputation. And the best way to do that is by adding a Whole Foods.
We couldn't get a Whole Foods to open here, and why not? Huh? We all just don't believe we could get a Whole Foods because we don't believe in ourselves.
The worst store. The buffet line is like $40. They don't carry brand names, or if they do, I just don't see any. And just the fact that it's there means that the gentrification will never go away. To get a Whole Foods in town, they decide to gentrify a portion of it and introduce a new neighborhood called Soto Sopa, which is just Kenny's neighborhood at the edge of town.
Stuart, come on, your house sucks.
If you people want to turn something into a vibrant arts district, then do it to Randy's house.
My house is nice.
They gentrify the place and make everything too expensive for them to afford, especially the ice cream.
But Mommy, they have ice cream.
We can't afford $10 ice cream, alright?
$10 ice cream? It's only $2 from Mr. Softy. Plus there's all the noise and stuff, which I'm experiencing right now. Ugh. Hate recording on the porch. Things only improve when Tong Lu Kim and his child labor force introduce a new gentrified neighborhood to greater acclaim. On the bright side, at least a lot of good comes from karma. For example, the Whole Foods has a cashier that makes fun of Randy for not donating to hungry kids. But would he donate to the IMPMD? And the town itself gets to be so expensive via property taxes, how does that even work, that Randy actually considers moving.
We can't afford it.
We can't afford it?
I had to take out a second mortgage on the house.
You what?
Wow, what irony.
Sorry, folks, we're in a hold. We're in a hold.
As we've established, Randy is not that close to Shelley. Whenever they have an episode or a moment together, it's usually Shelley cursing him out, or Randy ignoring her, or both. Broadway Bro Down is no exception, and while it's not the worst thing Randy has ever done, it's the worst for me personally. Randy has just taken Sharon to see Wicked. Oh my god, I hate that show. It's not that bad, it's like so level 1. After learning that Broadway musicals put women in the mood for BJs. Ooh, did they go to TGI Fridays after? Or what about the Jonas Brothers concert? You know they were on Broadway, right? The next day, Randy has to be the coach at the community pool, where Larry Fegan, aka Fegan the Vegan, is too scared of the diving board to jump, creating a line.
Coach! Fegan the Vegan won't jump off the diving board! Hey, Coach!
You just don't get it, Stotch. I'm telling you, go see Wicked. It's the best time.
Rather than just tell Larry to go to the side until he calms down. It's okay, Larry. I've been there. Just go off to the side and take a few deep breaths. Randy spends it drinking with his friends and talking about his crazy night, forcing Shelly to be the one to help Larry.
Come on, Fegan, either jump or get off.
At least she's doing something about it. Throughout the course of the episode, Larry and Shelly get closer together and end up dating, so Sharon gives them the tickets to Wicked before the tour moves.
She's what?
Yeah, her and little Larry Fegan. They're going to see Wicked together. It's Shelley's first Broadway musical.
Ah! Shelly! Oh, God!
Randy panics and goes to stop Shelly from making a huge mistake. However, he gets kicked out of the theater by the ushers, so he goes to a nearby costume store, steals a Spider-Man costume, and pulls a Reef Carney, getting the show shut down. You might say that in this instance, he's like Patrick Page. In the process, he also causes a pipe to leak and flood the theater, which kills Larry, as he couldn't swim and he gave up his trademark life preserver, which caused him to drown. Oh my god, you bastard. Now, killing a kid is awful, but what's so bad about this? First off, Shelly doesn't get a lot of joy in her life. It's one reason why she's so awful, and it sucks that this was taken away from her. And second, there seemed to be no sign of Shelly actually giving in to the emotions Randy thought she was going to. If anything, she appeared to be bored of the show, unlike her mother. I mean, I love Broadway musicals, but even I'll admit that not everybody likes them. Besides, she and Larry are 12. If anything, Shelly probably doesn't know about that stuff or care. I mean, during the whole show, nobody else really seemed like they were interested that way. A dude brought his granddaughter, and he probably wasn't expecting that.
Would you mind? I'm trying to enjoy this musical with my granddaughter. Oh, you pervert.
Still one of my favorite jokes. So the way it's presented, it seems like Randy was panicking for nothing, and his panicking killed a kid, meaning said kid died for nothing. Oh, and also, he doesn't actually explain what happened to Shelly. He just uses a lot of vague metaphors.
Spider-Man works in mysterious ways, Shelly, and wherever he is, he loves you.
I know Trey Parker probably doesn't like Shelly because she's based off his sister who bullied him, but Shelly the character, yeah, I feel bad for her.
Stop acting like there's something wrong with me! Something's wrong with you! All of you! Try having some goddamn compassion!
One of the biggest preventable tragedies of our modern age is school shootings, and one reason they continue is because of the blasé attitude of people, where if it doesn't happen in your backyard, what's the prob, Bob? This was covered in the episode Dead Kids. South Park Elementary experiences a school shooting, and nobody cares.
Why is Token out to get me? There's something going on here.
Another school shooting today has left students in shock and disbelief.
Yeah, Token's probably sick of you cheating off of them all the time.
Which, I've said it before and I'll say it again, but I think a prime reason besides it being just another thing that gets reported on the news is because this is South Park. They experienced a full-on war with Canada, where America genocided Canadians, Satan and Saddam Hussein. They almost had the whole world destroyed because they were cancelled. Kenny dies all the time. Cthulhu. I feel like they would react to a normal event like a school shooting, which to us it's horrible, to them it'd be normal, with complete indifference, just because it's nothing they haven't seen before. The only one who's concerned is Sharon.
Stanley, oh my god! Baby! Oh, you're okay!
Hey, Mom.
It's all right, Stanley.
This time around, acting like a concerned mother, while Randy, well, the only good thing you can say is that he at least checks to be sure Stan wasn't involved in the shooting itself or got injured.
Who shot up the school? Was it you?
No.
Did you get shot?
No.
Oh. Well, what's this about failing a math quiz?
You know, I kind of have to wonder what he was gonna do if Stan actually said he was the shooter. Like, Stan Marsh, you shot up your school? You're grounded for a week. Sharon is the only parent in the whole town that's actually concerned about the possibility that her children could potentially be killed at school, a place where they're supposed to be safe, and Randy doesn't care in the slightest.
Uh-huh. What else is going on?
Why does there need to be anything else? Are you kidding me?
I'm sorry, Sharon.
Why isn't anyone else emotional?
Instead, he believes that Sharon is acting up so badly because she's menstruating.
Down there.
Don't you dare suggest that I'm only emotional because
I'm just pointing out that it is around that time.
Get out, Randy!
Or maybe she has PMDD, which causes intense emotional symptoms, including feelings of longing for death and unaliving yourself before your period, starting with your ovulation cycle during a time of the month we call Hell Week. Donate now! Randy's theory gets to be so incredulous that he tells it to anybody willing to listen, like Sharon's therapist or the neighbors, and the whole time he makes himself out to be the victim.
I don't know how much more of this I can take. It's like I turn on the TV and dread they'll say something about a school shooting because it's going to set my wife off.
Eventually, the guy suggests that this might be a bigger problem than Sharon's menstrual cycle. It's menopause.
Menopause? I don't even know what that is.
Much like a super period, it will turn Sharon into a female dog for the rest of her life. But if it's PMDD, it's a relief if anything, as the only quote-unquote cure is to either experience menopause, or to have your ovaries and or uterus removed, thereby meaning you can no longer get periods. Donate now. Randy instead decides to show Sharon how loved she is via a serenade, with all of the town members playing a part with the surprise. Meanwhile, a school shooting involving their children is going on in the background. Plus, at one point they run past them and they don't even care. Oh, and to get Sharon to the school, he has Harriet Biggle and Linda Stotch trick her by saying there's a school shooting.
Come on! We have to hurry!
No, Sharon, you go ahead first.
Why? You should go.
What a coincidence. No, seriously, he got, lucky. Of course, Sharon isn't impressed, and now she's being accused of being ungrateful. But she tries to set them straight. She's not going through menopause.
I'm not going through f***ing menopause!
How do you know?
I just got my period this morning!
But this opens up another can of worms and gives Randy another way to gaslight.
Just got your period this morning.
Yes!
So, the past few days, maybe you have been just a little...
No!
Which, admittedly, I feel like he's not being intentional. He's just that stupid. Which is worse. Sharon makes one last appeal to the townsfolk and to Randy to take her seriously, but they refuse. Embarrassed, Sharon goes home, where Randy's gaslighting has worked. She finally decides that school shootings are no big deal. What the hell? And if anything, it was just her period talking.
Thank you, Sharon. I don't know what it's like to have periods, but I'll try to be more understanding.
It's hilarious, like the oh, but oh, it hurts. It hurts so bad. It hurts like endometriosis. What makes it worse is immediately after, Sharon learns that Stan himself was shot, and rather than wondering if he's alive or dead or in critical condition, like honestly even Randy is concerned now.
Should we get down there?
It's not the end of the world.
Oh! I love you, Sharon.
Whoa, you're lucky he just got shot in the arm. Now this is one of the worst for me because of how realistic it is and how tragic. Sharon just plain old gives up, and you have to wonder what got Randy to do the same. The fact that he's a selfish person? Did he go through a similar crisis and he got gaslit too? What about the other townsfolk, especially Sheila? You would think she would be concerned. Heck, did he know what he was doing? I mean, he did follow Sharon to her therapy sessions. I don't know.
Christ's sake! You have a good idea and everyone wants to copy you. Fine, I can handle some healthy competition. Who else wants to go to China and get some of their money?
As we all know, if you want to get anywhere as a creative, you must market your ideas to China. Banned in China has Randy learned that China has a huge population and a thriving economy. If he's able to market to them, he will make a bunch of money. Because money!
If we can get like 2% of that market to buy our weed, we'd make millions of dollars.
Rather than go to Stan's concert, he decides to go to China, and to add insult to injury, he forces Stan to advertise the farm by wearing his Tegrity shirt during the concert.
You need to wear your Tegrity t-shirt. Stan, they're available on Amazon starting Friday, so you could really help promote the family business while I'm gone. But then again, I guess family doesn't mean all that much to you.
Wow, no wonder Stan's songs are all about how much he hates living on a Colorado farm. Oh, and Randy is that one chatty Cathy on the plane. The worst person on the plane, next to that one mom who won't parent her kids, or who asks you to switch seats so you get the middle seat and she gets first class.
First time going to China? No, not really. It's my first time.
Randy, this is a long flight and the dude is busy. Be quiet, you are the worst person ever. Unfortunately, Randy gets arrested at the border because weed is still illegal in China. He ends up at a Chinese prison where he meets Winnie the Pooh and Piglet, who are voiced by Stolas' original voice actor, Brock Baker.
Are you prisoners here?
Some people said Pooh looked like the Chinese president, so we're illegal in China now.
And apparently, Winnie the Pooh is no longer banned in China. I don't know, it's complicated, just know he technically isn't. Mickey Mouse negotiates for Randy's release, and he's able to help negotiate a deal with China to market Tegrity, provided Randy show his support by violently murdering Winnie the Pooh.
I would like to share, Piglet. Perhaps I will share.
Which I am not showing. Randy ends up making a ton of money, but from doing something highly immoral, allowing the Chinese government to plant his weed on student protesters.
So they can put them in jail!
Yeah, we make money either way.
You don't care how anyone else feels!
Wow, hope you enjoyed your ticker tape parade, Randy. It's basted in the blood of the innocent.
You really don't know how hard it is to be constantly reminded of something lame that happened in your past. I mean, I just want to move on from what happened on Wheel of Fortune, you know?
Would you believe me if I told you this was the episode that gave me the idea for the list? I'm sorry, I saw it the other night. Which, considering when this episode comes out, it could be either weeks to months later. Randy gets to be on Wheel of Fortune, and because in South Park it's taped live, rather than multiple episodes over the course of a single day, everybody can see what he's doing. Randy gets the last puzzle, which is called People Who Annoy You. And he says the word as loud as he can.
All right, I'd like to solve the puzzle.
No, Randy, it was naggers.
Oh, naggers, of course. Naggers. Right.
Now, to be fair, this was a mistake, and I feel Randy could do a lot to own up to it, and he tries, like going to Jesse Jackson and begging forgiveness and kissing butt.
I want to apologize deeply and sincerely, Reverend Jackson.
Because Jesse Jackson is the emperor of black people, totally. Or trying to understand the black experience by supporting black artists like at a comedy club, or establishing a scholarship. However, I feel the problem is he never actually says sorry. He just tries to play the victim.
Say hi, nigga. Hi.
That's all right, nigga. You know we just playing.
Yeah.
I think if he really, truly, and honestly apologized, things would turn out much better for him, and he wouldn't have to walk a mile in the shoes of the N-word guy. He gains a new name. Rednecks are actually angered with his intolerance, and he can't even buy aspirin. Nobody understands his pain, not even when he expresses it through a poem.
Me as that one single name. Hey, guy, hi, guy, stop! Now go.
Randy, just because you got Winnie the Pooh's friend's name wrong does not mean you can keep saying it. Eventually, he's confronted by Michael Richards, aka Kramer from Seinfeld, and the inspiration for this episode, who tells Randy that he's working on lobbying Congress to pass a bill to make the word N-word guy, the real word, not my censoring of it, illegal. And since there's only one black guy in Congress, they all agree.
Aye! Opposed? Nay. If a person uses the word it must be at least 7 words away from the word guy.
Wow, so not only did Randy get away with making a racial slur on national television, but he also broke the First Amendment. At least if it went before the Supreme Court weighed. No, I can't make jokes like that.
Yeah, I know, but I can't just turn myself in.
This isn't personal, Marsh. It's business. I'm having you killed, then secretly we'll send your DNA to the scientists for the vaccine.
Wait a second. Randy's the reason I had to go to college in the basement. I hate you. If you want to know, I was like Stan back then in terms of how I dealt with what was going on, but on the bright side, if it weren't for that, I would not be kidding Monk. Banned in China is one of Randy's most infamous moments, both in-universe and out, but it gets a lot worse with the shutdown special. Sorry, I don't know if I can say any buzzwords yet. First off, remember how the shutdowns forced a lot of businesses to close, potentially forever, especially independent businesses? Well, Randy spends the first part of the special bragging about how he still has a thriving business and was able to adapt unlike them, or that he has the luck that they don't.
Thomas opened a restaurant in Sotasopa. Doesn't seem like such a good idea now, does it? And there's Marley Jarvis, who owned and operated her own tanning salon. Whoops.
And to this end, he's doing his own special, when people are actually suffering.
Do you even know anyone personally who's dying?
My brother Jimbo, who is in the hospital.
Jimbo's a fat alcoholic who'd be in the hospital anyway.
Then it turns out Mickey Mouse wants his head on a platter, as the shutdowns affected his theme parks, and made him implement Genie Plus, not Fast Passes. Curse you. You made my vacation 10 times more difficult. As it turns out, after Randy came home from China, he had the flu. But he didn't, kinda. In China, he and Mickey Mouse got super high, like really, really, really high. And Mickey Mouse suggested that he should give it to a bat and then to a pangolin. This created the virus.
You started all this!
You didn't quarantine yourself after you got home? I thought I just came back from China with the flu!
Oh, so not only is he guilty of creating a virus, he's guilty of bestiality. But wait, why is bestiality spelled as bestiality? Shouldn't we call it bestiality then? Just for the statistics, the emergency phase lasted for 3 years, 3 months and 5 days, and killed millions of people while infecting millions more. And we're not out of the woodwork yet. Like, we have mostly returned to our normal lives, but it's still ongoing. So Randy is technically responsible for that. Or many businesses were forever changed. I mean, now working from home is more normalized, Zoom is more normalized, and people went homeless or declared bankruptcy or had their mental health shattered or their learning stunted, and Randy is responsible for all of this. To be fair, Randy does try to help find a cure or a vaccine, if only so Sharon won't be pissed at him.
My wife is crazy. If she finds out, she's gonna be a total about it.
Yeah, she's gonna be a little more than pissed. And this involves putting his creamy goo into his weed and forcing people to smoke it. While it does help people who are in critical condition, like Jimbo, it has the unfortunate side effect of causing people to grow mustaches.
Shut up! You have no idea if it's because of the special. You could just be sick again because you're a fat alcoholic, and I am not going to jail for you!
Wow, even when he tries to help, he's awful. Randy, you are hereby banned from every Disney park forever, even Disney Paris.
We retract what we said about toilet paper companies. They have done nothing but help us, and we're sorry.
South Park, everyone say you're sorry.
We're sorry.
Okay, great.